everyone. So in this session we are going to learn some method of detection of ultrasonic waves. Okay. So let us start with quartz crystal method. Okay, there are several methods which can detect the presence of ultrasonic waves. Here we are discussing few of them. Let us first start with quartz crystal method. Okay, so this quartz crystal method is basically the piezoelectric effect that we are using to detect the ultrasonic waves. Okay, so we know that in piezoelectric effect, what happens when pressure is applied on the opposite faces of the quartz crystal, equal and opposite charges gets accumulated on the opposite sides of the crystal. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are passing the ultrasonic waves through one of the faces of the quartz crystal. Okay, and when this sides of the crystal is exposed to ultrasonic waves, in the other pair of the faces, charges of varying polarity are developed, right? Which means equal and opposite charges are accumulating on the opposite faces of the crystal. Okay, so now these charges can be amplified and they can be detected using suitable circuit. Okay, so if you are exposing ultrasonic wave and if the charges are detected by any circuit, it proves that there is a presence of ultrasonic waves. Okay, so here charges indicate the presence of ultrasonic waves in case of quartz crystal method. So basically quartz crystal method is based upon the piezoelectric effect. Okay, whenever the ultrasonic waves are exposed on one of the sides of the crystal, the charges are getting produced, accumulated on the opposite side of faces of the crystal, and these charges can be amplified as well as detected using suitable circuits. Okay, now next method is thermal detector. Okay, so what happens when ultrasonic waves are passed through any medium? There is a presence of heat. They produces heat due to their corresponding compressions and rarefactions. Heat is produced in the medium. Okay, so generally what happens when the ultrasonic waves are passed in any medium? When ultrasonic waves are passing through a medium, then at nodes heat is being generated, right? So at nodes there will be a heat effect of heat, and at antinodes there will no temperature change will be there at antinodes. Okay, so at nodes temperature will be maximum and at antinodes temperature will be minimum, or we can say there is no temperature change. Okay, so due to their compressions and rarefactions, heating effect is being produced in a medium when ultrasonic waves are passed. So we can use this method to detect the ultrasonic waves. Okay, so whenever the ultrasonic waves are propagating through the medium, okay, so the temperature of the medium will change, okay, in such a way that if there is a stationary wave pattern, then at nodes the temperature change will be there, and at antinodes there won't be any change in temperature. So using this change in temperature, we can detect or we can sense the ultrasonic waves, okay, by using suitable components. So this is the very basic and the most useful method to detect ultrasonic waves, right? It is known as thermal detector. Now here what we are using a metal, we are using a platinum wire in a Callendar Griffiths bridge. Okay, so this bridge is placed where the presence of ultrasonic waves is to be detected. Okay, so this bridge is placed where the presence of ultrasonic waves is to be detected. And what happens when the ultrasonic wave is propagated through that medium, right? So there will be a change in temperature in the platinum wire, right? Due to that alternating compression and rarefaction, there will be alternating change in temperature in the platinum wire. Okay, for example, for alternate compression, right, and for alternate rarefactions, right, there will be a heating and cooling effect that will be produced in the platinum wire. right? In such a way that at nodes temperature change will be maximum, and at empty nodes there won't be any change in temperature. Okay, so this change in temperature in a platinum wire brings the change in resistance, right? We know that in metal, as temperature increases, resistance affects, right? So any change in temperature affects the resistance of the wire, of the platinum wire. So whenever the temperature at nodes the temperature changes, there will be an effect on the resistance, and it will affect the condition, balance condition of this bridge, right? So the unbalanced or the disturbed condition or the unbalanced condition of this bridge will indicate the presence of ultrasonic waves, right? If we talk about NT nodes, there won't be any change in temperature at NT nodes. Okay, so at NT nodes the condition of the bridge will be balanced, right? So this change in temperature or this change in resistance of the wire indicates that there is a presence of ultrasonic waves, right? So this is how ultrasonic waves are detected using thermal detector. Okay, right? Basically, ultrasonic waves when passed through a medium produces change in temperature, and it can be used. It is the most basic and most useful way to detect the ultrasonic waves, right? Presence of ultrasonic waves basically. Okay, so this is known as thermal detector. Right, so NT nodes, no temperature change, nodes, temperature change. Okay, now let us understand the another method which is known as sensitive flame method, right? So sensitive flame method is a qualitative method to detect ultrasonic waves. It is a very simple method in which if you use a narrow sensitive flame and put this flame in a medium where the ultrasonic waves is to be detected, and when you pass the ultrasonic wave through this flame, what happens? Flame remains steady at NT nodes and it flickers at nodes. So by observing the behavior of the flame, right, in such a way that at NT nodes it remains stationary, it remains steady, but at nodes flickering will be there. Okay, so the flickering behavior, okay, of the flame will indicate that there is a presence of ultrasonic waves. Okay, so this is how ultrasonic waves are detected by the behavior of the flame using sensitive flame method. Okay, so the next method is Kunz tube method. Okay, so what we are using here, we are using a glass tube over here, right, and we will fill it with a lycopodium powder, and when we pass the ultrasonic waves through this glass tube, right, normally what happens, the powder gets accumulated at nodes and it is blown away at NT nodes, right? So let us first see the construction of this glass tube, right? So what does Kunz tube means? Kunz tube consists of a glass tube, right, whose length is over a meter and whose diameter is almost around 5 centimeter. Okay, so first of all, this glass tube is constructed in such a way that it is supported with a wooden base, right, as you can see in this diagram, and the one end of the glass tube is connected with a piston and a cork, and on the other end of the glass tube you can see in the figure that quartz crystal is placed, and which is placed between the metal plates, right, two metal plates. So again here also using quartz crystal, ultrasonic waves are being generated, right, with the help of piezoelectric effect. Okay, so as you can see in this diagram, quartz crystal placed between the metal plates is used to produce ultrasonic waves. Right, now this glass tube is clamped and supported with a wooden base. One end of this glass tube is connected with a piston and a cork, and at the another end, quartz crystal is placed between the plates. Right, now the other end of the glass tube is open while the one end is closed with the piston. Okay, So first of all, this glass tube is made dry, right, properly dry with the help of hot blast air, right. So when the powder is filled up, lycopodium powder is used in the bottom portion of the tube, right. It is used to detect the ultrasonic waves here. So when the powder is filled in the glass tube, right, and the ultrasonic waves are propagated or passed through this tube, what happens? Heaps of powder is generated at the nodes and powder is blown away at the empty nodes, right? So there is a due to the alternate compressions and rarefaction, there will be a periodic variation of lycopodium powder, such as heaps of powders are generated at nodes and at empty nodes powder is blown away. So the most important thing of this method is that your glass tube should be properly dried throughout, right, over the length, throughout the length of the tube. Okay, so using hot blast air, it is properly thoroughly dried, right. Then a thin layer of powder should be placed all over the length of the glass tube. Okay, that is why when the ultrasonic waves are passed, right, since one end of this tube is fitted with the adjustable piston and a cock, the waves will get reflected and stationary wave pattern will be produced, right, in such a way that at nodes heaps of powder will be collected in the form of heaps at nodes, and at empty nodes powder will be blown away, right. So this presence or collection of powder, right, at nodes, collection of heaps of powder at nodes, right, will indicate the presence of ultrasonic waves, right. They will be indicating that there is the presence of ultrasonic waves, right. So this is how ultrasonic waves are detected in Kunz tube method. Okay. So also knowing the resonant frequency F, if we know the wavelength of the ultrasonic waves, right, and the frequency of resonant, resonant frequency of the vibrating crystal, then you can also determine the velocity of ultrasonic wave as well, right. For example, we know that we know equation d sin theta is equal to n lambda, right. So in that equation d is equal to lambda u by 2. Okay, now this d, small d, is basically the distance between two consecutive nodes or empty nodes, right. So we can get the distance between two nodes or empty nodes here in the form of collection of heaps of powder, right. Nodes are formed. So if we take the distance between two heaps of powder, we'll get the d distance. Through d, we'll get the lambda u, wavelength of ultrasonic wave, as we know that lambda u is nothing but 2d, or d is equal to lambda u by 2. So knowing the value of this wavelength of ultrasonic waves and the resonant frequency, we can determine the velocity v is equal to f lambda u using this equation. Okay. So in this way, we can determine the velocity as well and detect the ultrasonic wave, right. These are the methods that we have discussed. First of all, quartz crystal method, in which accumulation of charges, right, indicates the presence of ultrasonic waves, while in thermal detector, change in temperature detects the ultrasonic waves. Okay. Again, in this one also, we know that there will be a periodic change in resistance throughout the wire, right. If there is a change in temperature at nodes, right, so the resistance will be disturbed, the resistance will be changed. Now, if we can detect the change in resistance between two nodes, we'll get the distance between two consecutive nodes, or we can also get 2 points where no temperature change is there. So we'll get the distance between two consecutive empty nodes. Using this distance, we'll get the value of wavelength as lambda u is equal to 2d, or d is equal to lambda u by 2. And we can also determine the velocity of ultrasonic waves through thermal detector also. Right. In case of sensitive flame method, what happens? Narrow sensitive flame is used, right, in a medium where ultrasonic waves is being passed, and the flickering of the wave indicates the presence of nodes. Stationary wave pattern of ultrasonic waves. So the behavior of sensitive flame here indicates the presence of ultrasonic waves, right? Here also the 2 points where the flickering is there, or the 2 points where the flame remains steady, gives you the distance between two nodes or two antinodes, right? Knowing this distance, we can get the value of lambda u, and through this we can also get the value of velocity. So these are the four methods which are basically most basic and most useful methods to detect ultrasonic waves. Okay, thank you.